Welcome to the Don't You Worry podcast. We're your hosts, Briley and Britton Caldwell, and we're here to say don't you worry through stories, encouragement, and joy. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's conversation. Welcome back to the Don't You Worry podcast. It's your favorite hosts, Briley and Britton.
We are back with our week 2, episode 2 in our Let's Get Real series.
Yes.
Last week was brain dumping, amazing concept. If you haven't watched the episode, definitely go watch that. It was amazing. But this week, we're getting real about dating.
Ooh, I'm so excited. This is going to be so fun. And for the person watching that's like, I have heard you guys talk about it before and neither of you have ever been dating, so what are you about to do? Listen, we read the Bible, so we've read about things that are important in a relationship.
Why we haven't been dating.
There are reasons why we haven't been dating. We've seen what to do. We've seen
Yes.
what not to do. We've seen a ton of our friends date. And then we've also just asked people, adults, what's up with your dating life? We've been listening to a bunch of podcasts on it. So I feel like we are prepped up for this.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, we're going to have some hot takes. So you may not agree with them, but you're going to hear them from us anyway.
Gotta get spicy.
Yes. I mean, the series is Let's Get Real, so we got to be completely real.
Exactly.
I want to start out with something completely random and funny. This could be deep or it could be super or it could be super superficial, like surface level. What is a big ick you get in a guy or multiple icks? Because there's a difference, I feel like, in icks and red flags. Red flags in relationships or just in guys is like, whoa, that's kind of a red flag.
Yeah.
But an ick is like, oh, no, I can't do that. Please stop. Like, it's just, but I think it's different for every person. Like, I'm going to get icked out about certain things with guys that you are not going to get icked out about.
Yeah, something that's big for me is a guy that doesn't smile. If he doesn't smile in pictures or if he just doesn't smile that much in general and it's just he's just kind of there.
He's too cool for it.
Right. It's if you're not smiling, obviously that just kind of makes me mad in general just because obviously you look mad. You don't look like you're having a good time. If you're going to take a picture with me, at least look pleasant, right? But also it can go deeper too because then it's the root of you don't have joy in your life. Maybe let's get this fixed. Maybe let's be nice. Let's be pleasant to be around,
Right.
Just stuff like that. But also, another thing I have that's big is if they only listen to, explicit music that is constantly, whether it's, country music that's got a lot of cussing in it or just rap music, certain things that's just constantly putting that in their brain.
Yeah.
If they're listening to it, then those words, even if they don't cuss, even if they're, a really good person, whatever it is, if they're listening to that music, it's going inside of their brain.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's easier for them to just think about those things, and then that's a negative.
I can see that.
It's just also then if
bad
they're
music
listening,
taste in general is
yes, because then if they're listening to music with me, I'm no, I'm not going to listen to your crappy music. I'm going to listen to what I want to listen to because it's joyful and it's happy.
Right. And that can look different for different people.
Just my personal little icks.
Which that kind of leads into one of mine. One of my big icks is cussing, but not in a way that's oh, you need to be super religious and never say the wrong thing and you never need to cuss. And that's a completely different conversation because that's a different concept. But it's just, to me, this might sound sassy, but if your brain is so confined and small to the point where you're using these same few cuss words over and over again, if your creativity cannot come up with new words, your creativity is not taking me on a date. Your creativity is not going to lead me well in a relationship.
Yeah.
So that's my big ick is cussing. Please get smarter.
Right.
And then the other one, this is really random. Some people may disagree with this, but if you're constantly wearing Crocs all the time, please find other shoes. I don't mind.
So valid.
If you're wearing Crocs at the beach, if you're wearing Crocs to go get something in your backyard, maybe even if you're an athlete and you just need something to throw on after a practice or something, but if I only ever see you in Crocs, please fix that. That's just
Please fix that. Move on.
For me, if you want to date me, then please fix that. But those are just our icks. So I just
wanted to throw out your Crocs.
I just wanted to start out with something goofy because we both disagree on things and also agree on certain things. But okay, here is hot take question number 1. Should you date someone who is not a Christian?
Well, no.
Why?
So
this is a loaded question.
Listen, there are a lot of people in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say this from a girl standpoint. This can be the exact same thing for a guy standpoint too. But since I'm a girl, that's what I'm going to say. So if a girl is interested in a guy and they are not a Christian, they are not in the Word, they don't have a relationship with God, but the girl does.
Yeah.
So like let's say me, for example. So if I have a crush on this guy and I am interested in him, I should not be pursuing him because we're not on the same wavelength here. We don't believe in the same things. I believe that Jesus Christ saved me. Like, that is something that I base my entire life on.
Yeah.
And that's something that's leading my everyday, like, he's leading my entire life. And that's what I will stand firm in. And if a guy isn't standing firm in his faith, then he can't lead me the way that I need it.
Right.
He can't lead me closer to the Lord. Because if you're in a relationship together, and even putting this off until like marriage, when you're married, you are one person. Like you're binded together as one person.
Yeah.
And that's what marriage does to you. And if you like don't believe in the same things, and if you don't have your relationship rooted in Christ, then everything's going to fall apart, which happens with everything in your life. But specifically in relationships, there are so many people that are like, oh yeah, I can fix him. Well, yes, I can definitely fix him. Oh yeah, I know how to do this. Like he'll
overlooking
get better.
certain things and
they're
saying,
like,
well, it'll
he
get
has
better.
Potential. He has potential. Don't date for potential.
Yeah.
You date for the facts. You date for the true thing that you can rely on, because Jesus is the only one that can fix you.
Yeah.
If I had a crush on a guy that was not a Christian, I can try to lead him closer to the Lord and be a friend to him first. And I can, connect with him on a level that is a friendship, that we're hanging out or we're doing different things. But I can be like, hey, why don't you come to church with me this week?
Yeah.
Or why don't you try out my church? Or maybe try out a church that your friends go to or something like that.
And if you do something like that, sorry to interrupt.
You're good.
If you do something like that, it's really good if you set them up to hang out with some other guys.
Yes.
Like if I'm like, hey, you should get connected to these guy friends that I have at my church. Like I think that and talk to your friends about it. Be like, hey, this guy needs Jesus. So can you just help him out? Like talk to him. Because if you're in a relationship with somebody, you are constantly thinking about that person. It affects your brain.
It does.
So like if I'm bringing a guy to church all the time just for me and being like, well, I'm going to try to get him, like I'm going to try to fix him. If you're the only one ever inviting him and sitting with him, like he's thinking about you. He's not thinking about what's being preached.
Exactly. You know? I totally agree with that. And I also think it's really important, if you do like somebody like that, then pray for them. Start genuinely praying for them. And obviously pray for a lot of lost people. Like I pray for people that I'm not interested in like that. And I pray for them to, find the Lord. But if you're really trying to get in a relationship with them, then you need to, I honestly believe that you should be friends before you date.
Yeah.
And that's just like a regular thing that that's another hot take.
But
like that's something that I think of. But if you are praying for that person, and if you are truly interceding with God and praying so hard and inviting them to church and pouring into their life, and like you said, setting them up for other people to pour into their lives too, then it will make an impact, Yeah. And even if it doesn't, then that's not the person for you. That's not the person who will confidently lead you, because you shouldn't date for potential. That's what I've got to say.
That's so good. And I was about to say, I was watching this podcast and it was the guy and his wife, and he said that he actually saw who his wife was 6 months before they started dating. When he saw her, he was attracted to her and was like, oh, I really want my wife to look like that, like her confidence, everything, which we're going to talk about later. But then he said that he was so confident in the season he was in that he was like, I'm not in a season to find a woman right now. I'm in a season where God is growing me spiritually. I was in a dark place, then I found Jesus, and now I want to grow as a man of God. So if you're confident enough in the season you're in, like both of us are in a season right now where we're not dating, we're not really interested in anybody. And so honestly, we're just growing so much right now that even if we saw a guy, it's not necessarily like we're automatically pursuing them. Like we're confident in the season that we're in right now. If I'm about to move to college, I'm not really interested in finding a guy before I move off to college, because that's going to be a new season of life, like completely new opportunities, fresh start. So anyway, I think knowing the season you're in and what you just said is so, so good. And also it reminded me of this quote from Ann Wilson in one of her songs, Red Flag, that just said, it's so simple, but she says, don't sell yourself short, girl, because he's got to love you, but he's got to love Jesus just a little more. And it sounds cliche, but really, truly, seek someone who loves Jesus even more than you do, and who loves Jesus more than he's even going to love you. He's going to love you second. So it's just important to me, and I think it's definitely a hot take. Like, don't try to date if they're not a Christian. Right. Definitely be friends, but don't try to date. And then the second topic I want to talk about is being flirty versus being friendly. So I feel like, I mean, both of us aren't really flirty people. I mean, maybe you so a little more than me. I'm kind of bad at flirting.
I'm sorry, what's that?
No. Like in a good way, though. Yeah. Because, anyway, I'm bad at flirting. But I think the difference I think personally, my hot take is that we should normalize guy friends. If it were up to me, I would say nobody be in lasting dating relationships in high school. Instead, just go on dates. And I mean, I guess people could argue like, well, what if you have fun with the same guy? You just go on dates with him all the time. People could argue that. But like, if I wish it were more normal for a guy to just text me and be like, hey, do you want to go to Topgolf? Or hey, do you want to go to dinner? Or hey, do you want to go...
Let's go get a big group of friends together.
Yeah, and group hangouts for sure, definitely. But like, make it not weird, where it's like, oh yeah, I'll just ride with them to this event and then come back, and then like we're not gonna date, we're not gonna be in a long-term relationship. That would just be my hot take personally. But at the same time, there's such a difference in the heart posture you have if you're trying to be kind or if you're trying to flirt. Because if you're trying to just show a guy kindness, I have plenty of guy friends who I compliment or try to encourage and lift up. There's a difference in flirting, because if you're talking to a guy and you're constantly like just flirting and flirting and flirting, but you're like leading them on, that comes from a selfish place, because you're just thinking, oh, this is so fun.
And you're in it for you. You're not trying to give them encouragement, like you said. Right. You're trying to get attention from them.
You're trying to be like, oh, he's talking to me. Like, I wouldn't necessarily want to date him, but like, let's just lead him on anyway. Let's just have fun with it. Like, it doesn't have to go anywhere. And girls think a lot of the time about like, well, guys need to be this, guys need to be this. But at the same time, girls need to be careful with flirting. Like, you don't need to, guys have feelings, and they do have a lot of their value is coming from like the way that they present themselves if they were going to be in a relationship or whatever.
Plus, with girls, especially in high school, in this stage of life, girls are so much more mature, so they can realize, they're like, oh, I'm just having fun flirting. Like, I'm not actually meaning any of this. Like, I'm not looking for a deep relationship with you. But guys they're not fully developed up here yet.
No.
They are not understanding. Like, they're at a different stage of life than you are. And so you're at a point where you can realize this is what's flirting and this is what's me being friendly. But they don't realize that. And you have to be clear in your communication. And you also have to just like
be aware.
Said, yes.
Yeah, be aware of like how far you're taking it, because like, are you just being nice, or are you constantly like locked in eye contact, like tapping their shoulder? Like,
my gosh,
that's so funny. Tell me more. Like, calm down, calm down, girl. And some people, I heard this on one of Maddie Pruitt's podcast episodes. She said some people blame it on like, well, I have a flirty personality. No, you don't. This is just something you're doing.
Change that.
Like, that's a selfish heart posture. It's not actually about your personality. Again, I told you guys, this is going to be a hot take episode. Next hot take is you should not date alone. If no one knows about your relationship, that's a red flag. Because this verse from Proverbs 11:14 says, where there is no guidance, a people falls, but in an abundance of counselors, there is safety. And godly relationships invite counsel. They don't invite secrecy. So like, if in a girl and a guy in a relationship, the girl needs to have other girls in her life, whether it's a best friend, whether it's a mom, whether it's a small group leader, whether it's a really strong Christian mentor, somebody that's going to be completely honest and open with them and say, hey, these are the things that I think should lead you closer to Christ in your relationship, or like, tell me how this went. And guys the same way. Like, a guy doesn't need to go home and just think about all the things by himself that happens in a relationship. He needs to talk to his godly friends about it. Not just any friends, not the friends that are going to be like, yeah, you're doing pretty good, but the ones that are actually like, okay, well, are you pursuing Jesus above her? All right, well, bro, you were dealing with this, so like, I don't know how guys talk. I don't either. But like, the guy needs guys and the girl needs girls to build each other up.
Also,
and individually.
Also, not just for reasons about like, hey, here's what you should do in your relationship, but also a thing when you are in a relationship, you kind of get blindsided about a lot of things. And
True.
you're so wrapped up in that person because it's like, it's fun. You're in a relationship, right? It's so exciting. But there's also parts of it where maybe something will happen and you think, oh, no, it's okay. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
He really didn't mean it like that. Or like he didn't do something this bad. Or like I didn't do something really bad. But there's another outside eye that's looking in on it and being like, well, maybe let's look about this. Let's look at this. Maybe this is a small, consistent thing that you don't realize because you're so wrapped up in him.
Right.
And there's like, they'll help you keep a healthy balance with that. And you have to be open and honest with them about everything.
Yeah.
But that will help you lead.
For sure. Definitely.
Yeah.
And you also need to grow apart from each other spiritually. Like with your groups of people, yes. And you need to be really honest with those groups of people that you have or those leaders, mentors, whoever it may be, friends. But at the same time, you need to grow alone with Jesus. And that's before you grow with anybody else. But grow alone with Jesus, not just together. Because as I was talking about Maddie and Grant's episode of the Stay True podcast that I was watching, they talked about, she said, when they even got married, she was like, oh, we're going to wake up and do our Bible study together. And he was like, no, I'm going like to be at a coffee shop by myself and just pray and do things with God. And she was like, you're right. Like, we don't do everything together. And in a marriage, like when you get to that point, then yes, you do a lot of things like praying together and growing spiritually together. But a lot of that, like, you need to do separate in dating because so much of it wrapped up in each other just gets wrapped up in each other. Then it makes God seem like your relationship.
That's why I honestly, this isn't like a romantic relationship thing for me, but I'm going through Kate Downing's Bible study with my best friend.
Yes.
And the way that it's laid out, I love it so much. And I think it should we should almost normalize this for all kinds of relationships with people. It's through the whole week, you're doing your own Bible study and you're getting in the Word and you're answering questions and asking questions and all of this stuff on your own.
Right.
But then you go together and you have a group time where you're reading scripture together and analyzing it together. And there's moments where it's like, oh, let me show you what God revealed to me this week. And if it's the same scripture, they can be like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. This is what God revealed to me, because everybody has a different perspective. And I think that's so healthy in a romantic relationship too, because you can go off and even if you're like, hey, let's read through the entire book of John or something random, I don't know. But let's read through this entire book of the Bible these few weeks and let's get together and talk about what we realize on our own, but also we have to do this alone. You know?
That's so good. That's really good. And the next hot take I have is kind of a little bit related to that, but it's simply if the woman is leading now, she's going to be leading later.
Oof.
And because we've talked about this a little bit before, but there's a difference in a Christian boy and a man of God. And part of that literally comes from physical maturity.
Yeah.
Like a guy's brain is not developed. Girls' brains don't develop that fast either. But a guy's brain physically is not developed until way after high school.
Yeah.
So like in high school, it's extremely hard, if not impossible, to find a guy who is truly a man of God, which is why it's like, okay, don't get too serious in high school. But at the same time, like, I could see it. I could see instances. But you need to find somebody who is a man of God first, because to find a guy that is going to be a lasting relationship, and the number one thing is discipline. A guy has to be more disciplined than even the girl does in physical maturity, emotional maturity, spiritual maturity, in a million different things. Like, there's just so much discipline that both of you have to have in a relationship, and so much, I said it again, but maturity, that it's hard if the guy is not pursuing Jesus first and if he's not taking the lead, because it's very biblical that the man is meant to lead the household. That doesn't mean anything less of the woman.
No.
That doesn't mean that, because if it really is a man of God, they're looking for a strong daughter of the king.
Right.
These men of God are not like, oh, let's just see what girl I can find that's sitting around waiting for a husband. Like, no, the girl is supposed to be in the Word. She's supposed to be praying hard for her husband. She's supposed to be praying for her friends and showing up in her state of singleness, in her state of dating, or whatever it may be, like whatever season it is. There's a lot from both sides that's expected.
There's a lot of passages in Scripture, and I feel like I've read most of them recently. It's about how women are supposed to gain so much wisdom to teach younger generations. Also, you're both leading each other, but also, like you said, in so many scriptures, it says the man leads the household. The man is like God has given the man that authority, and
Yeah.
you need to be looking for that, and he'll be looking for you. Because once you truly find that person, you're both looking for the same thing, because you're
Right.
wanting the same things in the relationship, and that's what you're desiring, because you want to be closer to God and you want to honor God in everything that you do, but also that same person wants to do the exact same thing.
Exactly.
And that means having that healthy relationship with them, because that's God's plan.
Which this is a hot take again, but I personally think a girl should never ask the guy out.
Yeah.
Now, there are exceptions to, like, if they don't know you like them, you're going to need to work some strings.
You can give some
If it's the
hints.
kind of relationship where you're like, I'll tell his friends that I like him. Or if you're bold enough, just go up and tell him you like him. Be like, if you want to pursue me, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. Just like let it be in his ballpark though. Because if you're the one that asks him out first, you started that relationship.
Right.
You're the one leading him. And instantly that's setting you down a path to lead in the future for things. Is like, well, I'll just take the lead on that. No, please don't do that. But like, and you can even talk about that. Like, let's get back to higher standards.
Oh,
This gets you all fired
Stop.
up.
Oh my gosh. So I will listen to mom and dad tell me stories of when they were dating and everything that dad did for mom and everything that mom did for him and like all of this stuff. It literally makes me cry, because I think so many people now, social media has ruined this, and interactions with our generation and everything, and just all of the circumstances of the world have ruined relationships. I feel like, and they ruin like the raw just passion for each other, because like I want my boyfriend to randomly surprise me and put sticky notes all over my car, or do something like do some kind of, you need to figure out your love language and start doing acts of service for each other and like thinking of each other selflessly.
Yeah.
And like I was staying with my grandparents one weekend or something, and my grandmother came over and she was like, look, I found these home videos of whenever my parents were like in their 20s, and she's showing me all these things, and I'm seeing the interactions between like my great grandparents, and I'm like, oh my gosh, where did this go? Like,
yeah, it's like the white fence, like picnic background. We literally have those pictures. Yes. And I was like, where is this?
Like, where is just the pure love of let me sit my phone down and have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
Let me look you in the eye and say, oh my gosh, you are so beautiful. Like, let me just dance around with you in the middle of a meadow. I don't even care. Like, wherever we're at, if we're at a restaurant or if something's happening, like anything, just pick me up, hold my hand, just look at me, look me in the eye and tell me that you, like, that I'm beautiful. Tell me that I am a daughter of the king. Like, genuinely just have those moments where it's like the 50s kind of love. Yeah. Where you're sitting on the phone and you're talking on your little telephone, and then you're like, no, you hang up. No, you. No, you. And then you hang up and you're like, oh, it's so cute. You know, I want that.
Been dreaming.
I want that.
But I was going to say, I don't think there's anything wrong with talking first online if that's the situation you're in. Now, if you go to the same school and you're texting me to ask me out,
my gosh,
absolutely not. Instant block. But but like if you've never met, like Sydney McLaughlin, we've talked about her story before. Her husband DM'd her first, but then instantly, as soon as they could, they moved it to a phone call, then a FaceTime, then an in-person. They didn't just stay texting all the time in a relationship, because that's not healthy, and that's not what we were made to do.
Right.
We were made to talk to each other on phones nonstop. So I don't think online is necessarily bad, but just get back to the pure standards of, I'm not going to send you a text to ask you out. I'm going to show up to the door, shake your dad's hand. Like these things that guys just need to be doing.
I'm going to bring you flowers. I'm going to bring you chocolate.
Yes.
Like literally the smallest thing. We were over at our great-grandparents' house, and she was telling me the moment whenever our great-grandfather like asked her out kind of thing. Yeah. And she was like, he was always this shy little boy in church, and he would always sit with his mom and hold her hand, and he would like always be sitting with his mom and taking care of her. And she said, and I always thought he's just the cutest thing. And I was like, this is the most pure relationship. Like, this is so precious. And she's just telling me, and she was like, and he was like, I really like you. I've been noticing you. He was like, and all this stuff. And I was like, let's just get back to that, where it's just so simple. I like you. Like, let's do this together. You know, it's just like you were saying, obviously have all those parts to it. But let's just get back to like how God intended it to be. Let's be real.
And lead with clarity, because if both of you, miscommunication is a big deal. So if you both lead with clarity, then it's going to go a lot further.
Yeah.
And then also I was listening to this podcast, hearing a guy's perspective on dating. And she asked him, she said, what are some qualities that you find attractive in a girl that's non-physical? Because for guys, like a lot of stuff is visual. And the first time they see you, it's because they're only attracted to you like physically. And that's just, if they're not, they're lying to themselves. But on a guy's perspective of this, something he said that was so attractive was confidence. He said knowing who you are is attractive, and overwhelming insecurity or putting others down is not. If a guy is watching how you're interacting with other girls, or how you're interacting, how you respect people, how you interact with the waitress, how you interact with just other people, are you putting them down to make yourself feel better? Are you feeling entitled that like, oh, my food should be out by now or whatever? Or are you loving people and respecting people with everything that you are and honoring them? Like, guys pay attention to that. And confidence, again, is so attractive because it's like, oh, she knows who she is with a man or not. And for the girl, like, be so confident so that then the guy will see that in you, and the right guy will see it in you and honor who you are as a person.
I think something about confidence that even I think about a lot is don't walk with your head down. If you're at school and you're like really wherever, but I'm just giving this as a small example.
Yeah.
If you're at school and you're walking in the hallway or you're walking into a classroom and automatically you're looking at the floor, you're not paying attention, just pick your head up. That changes your mood, but it also can change the way that people look at you. They're like, she knows who she is. She's owning this room that she's in. She knows her place and she knows her identity. Like, that's strong, and that's somebody that, like, that's really attractive to a guy, but that's also attractive, like, for me. That's something that I notice whenever, like, guys are walking around. They've got their hands in their pockets, and they're walking down, their heads down, and they're walking into a room. I'm like, I notice you're not yourself. Like, you're not the best version of yourself. If you're walking in there with your head held high, I'm like, wow, I'm intimidated by you because of your self-confidence and how, like, there's an effect with that.
Yeah, for sure. And then I was going to talk a little bit too about boundaries and just how that works in a relationship. I was asking my mom, I was like, all right, we're doing a hot topics on dating. What's a piece of advice that you would give? And she said this so well. She said, if you're having to ask how far is too far, you're already missing the point. And I was like, that's really good, because it's not about whether it's emotionally, spiritually, physically, whatever it is, it's not about pushing something to the limit. It's not about like, well, how far can we go in this relationship? How much time can I take away from her friends?
Right.
How much am I going to text her? How much am I going to do this? It's not about pushing everything to the limit. It's about selflessly honoring, even if it means sacrificing for yourself. So honor what her parents are, what her values are, what her standards are. Honor each other's space and lifestyle. And like, are you paying attention so much to, I want to respect the woman that she is as a daughter of the king that he created? Or are you like, well, what can I get out of this? And the same way with a girl. Are you like, how can this guy make me feel? What can we do like that's going to push everything as far as we can go? Or are you like, this guy means so much to me, I'm going to honor him in everything I do. So shout out, Mom. That was really, really good.
Fire advice.
Yeah. And then you said you had a hot topic too.
Yes. So
related to boundaries.
If you... I am personally, this is going to be a real hard-hitting topic for some people because
once again, guys, hot takes.
This is something that a lot of girls that I know deal with, and a lot of guys too. So when you're on FaceTime with a guy past 10 p.m., that's a boundary that you've crossed.
If you've ever heard the phrase, like, nothing good happens in a guy's mind after 10 p.m., like that, we are not guys, but it's true.
But it's true. And, like, there is something that you are more vulnerable later. Whoa, my microphone's like attacking me. So whenever you're going into later throughout the day and later throughout the night, you're exhausted from your day.
True. And
you're more vulnerable. So there are things that you would say that you probably wouldn't say if you're fully alert. Yeah. Like, even if it's just a conversation that you're having about, like, some of your like, I don't really know a specific example right now, but if it's a conversation that might even not be, like, super inappropriate, it could literally just be a normal conversation that's like, but it's a deep vulnerable conversation.
Yeah.
You probably, maybe you're new to this relationship, and maybe you've been dating for like a month, and you're still new to the relationship, I would say. And you're saying things that maybe you shouldn't be there yet. You shouldn't be connected that emotionally yet.
Because I was listening to that podcast I was talking about, and Grant, Maddie's husband, said something about, like, sharing your past isn't something you do on a first date.
Right.
But if you're up late or doing things like, I heard this thing on Instagram, or saw this thing on Instagram that said late nights lower wisdom. And this was a student ministry podcast or student ministry post that my uncle had shared. And it was saying, like, isolation leads to temptation, of course, but then fatigue also weakens your boundaries, regardless of what that means. So it may mean, like, you're getting so tired that you're like, let's talk about everything in our life. And, like, do you really trust that person yet to the point where you're going to share all of those things? And also, like, they don't need to know all the details of things that you might not think about when it's late at night. I mean, we even read a book series for the longest time that was, like, this sweet, sweet love story. And the guy was so insanely slow with all of his moves, to the point where it was from the girl's perspective. And she was like, I don't even know if he likes me anymore. And then he was, like, the dreamiest guy I've ever heard of.
Right.
So I'm like, me personally, I want my relationship to go so, so slow.
I think taking it slow, like you were saying, that keeps it so pure, but it also keeps it open. And, like, your relationship can grow. I think you can grow closer through that slow and steady pace, because there, especially in high school and especially in college, you have so much happening. Like, there are sports that you're involved in. There are people you're trying to get connected to. There are so many activities that you want to do, and you're being social. Like, there are so many moments where then maybe if you go through an entire day with only saying a couple words to each other, and then you're like, oh, well, it's okay. I'll just talk to him really late at night.
Yeah.
You need sleep too. You need to prioritize taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you can go a day without talking to, like, it's okay. Obviously, that's not, like, that shouldn't happen too often, but there are busy schedules.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said for that, and to be going slow and being consistent with each other, but also taking that, because then it makes it more beautiful when you do have those, like, intimate things like you were talking about in marriage. Like, if you just have a night where you're literally just talking the entire night when you're married, like, I think that's something that's so
to dream about.
sweet, right? Like, that's so beautiful to just be able to connect with somebody on that such a deep level.
Yeah.
But you also shouldn't be like, well, here's all of the things that I've done wrong when you're, like, 2 months into dating. I'm like, you might not end up with that person. You have to kind of scope that out first before you're so vulnerable, and you're putting yourself into a completely open emotional state. And when you're in those emotional states, then those people can come into areas of your life that maybe they shouldn't be in yet.
Yeah, and I think, like, this whole part has been a very, for sure, hot take, but it's different for everybody. Like, you may have a personal conviction that, like, for these, or maybe in the morning, like, for this first hour in my morning, I'm not going to speak to him. I'm not going to text him. I'm not going to do whatever. I'm going to spend some time with Jesus. That may be your personal conviction. Like, everyone's schedules look different. Everyone's lives look different. So I'm not saying there's, like, a set rule, but look at what you want your life to look like and what your goals are. When I was asking Dad, I was like, okay, we're doing a hot take episode. So, like, what's your brief opinions on the guy's perspective in dating and different things? And he said, it's so important. Like, we're kind of wrapping this up. He said it's so important to know what are his intentions and what are your intentions. Like, are you seeking pleasure from each other and what you can gain, or are your intentions genuinely leading you to God, honoring you, loving you well? And that's a hard thing to find in high school, in my opinion. Not that it can't be found, but hard thing to find. So just the importance of, like, be so analytical and aware of where you're at, and especially where you're at in your relationship with God. And then dating's fun after that.
Right.
So this has been really fun, in my opinion.
Some of y'all might hate us at this point and be like, you are so dumb. This is all stupid. But I don't care.
We're going to get
really
like 50 unfollows. People like, wrong. These are literally things I would say to anybody in person, face to face.
These are just our hot takes.
It's just our hot takes.
Our beliefs in what our expectations are for dating. And we hope you guys enjoyed it. Might have learned something from it.
Yes, hopefully. We just wanted to get completely real today about the topic. So let us know in the comments, like, what your all's opinions are. If you agree, disagree, if you have hot takes about dating, we want to hear them. I think it'll be really funny. And tell us what else you want to talk about when we're just getting completely real. So thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you back for next week's conversation.